Hi, this is Sal from the Waistcoats. It's been a while since we published our last vlog, but we are in the middle of the high season, so we are constantly on the road, but we do our best to keep up with all the footage we're filming and to keep you, our esteemed audience, informed about what we're up to. Also, at the end of this very video, I'll do a short Q&A because now you can also send us your questions and we, the band, that means me or any other member of the band, will be answering your very questions in upcoming videos. Just leave your comments below this video. There must be a comment section somewhere. Today, I'd like to highlight our recent 10-day gig marathon in which we traveled well over 4,600 kilometers. That's roughly 2,900 miles. And on our journey into the unknown, we saw 3 volcanoes, defied the laws of physics, ate lots of food and played in chapels, churches, outdoors, in front of small crowds, indoors for big crowds, played as if our lives depend on it with an average of 3 hours of sleep every night. So basically business as usual, just the way we love it. Every journey begins in our control center, where we plan our logistics, especially when we play many concerts within a narrow time frame, or if we travel to islands or abroad. And personally, I admit that I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to prepping for the show, but of course, life sometimes just happens. And so one fine day, Frankie, our piano player, decides to break his leg, which kind of messed up part of the plan, as he was supposed to drive certain equipment at certain times to certain places. As always, show must go on, and we always find a way to get things going, and so we proceeded with our 10-day program, which included a concert down south in Gaeta, where we played the ceremony on top of a hill overlooking the town, and later rocked it out at Villa Irlanda. This event was followed by a nice journey all the way to the north of Italy to perform in Lombardy for a Swiss event in the very noble and beautiful Villa Belusi. There was not much time to take in the beautiful architecture of the villa, as the next day we were to play in Rome, after which we had to split up the band so that 3 of us could return to perform in Lombardy, where Paul played the ceremony and the boys returned to Villa Belusi as a trio, while me and an additional musician played in Cortona. Basically 2 bands in one, twice the fun. Sat out the doldrums in patience and hope. The very next day I was to play a one-man show in Lazio, which was only a short layover for another road trip with the entire band moving to the south of Italy, there to play along the beautiful Amalfi Coast, destination for many engaged lovers saying yes in front of a beautiful scenery. After returning to Rome, we had a whopping 10 hours to recover before we flew to Catania, Sicily, the next morning to play at the US Naval Air Station. We were invited for an annual event at the Naval Air Station where we had the chance to enjoy a few pints, rewind before the gig, play some pool, skip some school and act real cool. Alright, I know, that's a Bruce Springsteen line. And get to know some nice people. Finally, it was time to return home, so now we could enjoy 4 entire days to physically relax before our next gig. And on our way back, we were really lucky to witness the Etna, Sicily's active volcano, the Stromboli, an active volcano in the middle of the sea, and finally Mount Vesuvius in the Gulf of Naples. And now, as promised, I will respond to a few questions from our followers. So here we go. Question number 1. Do you guys have any ritual before going on stage? Well, basically, I like to find a very silent room. I like to find a very silent spot and just be a few minutes on my own and take in the silence. Before then I do the warm-up, the vocal warm-up lessons, like, funny stuff like... I will not show that now because it sounds really ridiculous, but it's necessary for the vocal cords. I believe Paul is pretty similar when it comes to performing before a gig, but I would have to ask the guys, so maybe the next videos we will let you know what they do before a gig. How can you play in the summer when it's so hot? Well, the summer is quite a challenge, I must say. So what we do is we try to stay in the shades as much as we can. We have a gazebo that we bring sometimes if there is no cover provided, but usually we at least ask for some kind of cover because, as you can imagine, playing under 40 degrees Celsius under the sun is not good for us or for the equipment. So usually there should be some shades provided. But yeah, it's a challenge. We try to stay hydrated. We do some sports, which also helps the body to get accustomed to the warm weather. But yeah, basically it's, you just gotta toughen up, you know? Do you ever get bored from driving to your gigs for so long? When we're all in a van, we're like 4 characters, so there's always something to talk about and always some fun to be made. When we drive with several cars for logistic reasons, I usually drive with Frankie. And if you know Frankie, it never gets boring with Frankie and you never run out of funny stuff. And he's, if you ever saw the A-Team and you know Murdoch from the A-Team, he's Murdoch. So you can imagine it never gets boring. Paul usually drives with Salvo, with Mr. Bruno from Sicily. And he's a drummer, so usually they drive with the volume all the way pumped up, listening to songs and analyzing songs and talking about this and that in live, so I suppose they don't get bored either. So that's it for this episode of the Waistcoats vlog. Don't forget to subscribe for more behind the scenes videos. In the description you will find useful links. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about us, the band, any specific band member, live music in Italy, or really anything that comes to mind, and me or one of the band members will personally be answering your questions. Thanks for watching. See you soon.